Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Unpopular Aussie Opinions. Now, I know what you are thinking. You are expecting me to come on here and absolutely tear into Reece Walsh. You are expecting the typical condemnation, the moral outrage, the hot takes about how he has thrown everything away. But that is not what we do here. We dig deeper than the headlines, and today, I'm going to give you an opinion that is going to make a lot of you uncomfortable. The news that Reece Walsh's wife has filed for divorce after he was caught cheating has dominated Australian sports media for the past week. The story has everything the media loves. A young superstar at the peak of his powers, a scandal, a broken marriage, and the inevitable pile-on from everyone who wants to take the moral high ground. But here is my unpopular opinion, and you are probably not going to like it. We need to stop pretending that we are shocked when young athletes make terrible personal decisions, because the very system that creates these sporting gods is the same system that sets them up to fail as human beings. Let me be absolutely clear before we go any further. What Reece Walsh did was wrong. Cheating on your partner is a betrayal of trust. It is selfish, it is hurtful, and there is no excuse for it. His wife has every right to file for divorce, and she deserves nothing but support as she navigates what must be an absolutely devastating situation. I am not here to defend Reece Walsh's actions. I am here to talk about why we keep seeing the same story play out over and over again with young Australian athletes, and why we, as a society, bear some responsibility for it. Reece Walsh is 22 years old. 22. Think about who you were at 22. Think about the decisions you made, the mistakes you committed, the lessons you had to learn the hard way. Now imagine being 22 with millions of dollars in the bank, hundreds of thousands of people treating you like a god, and the entire rugby league world telling you that you are the future of the game. Imagine having that level of fame, that level of pressure, and that level of access to temptation, all while your brain is still developing and you are still figuring out who you are as a person. We take these kids, and yes, they are essentially still kids, and we put them on a pedestal before they have developed the emotional maturity or the life experience to handle it. We pay them enormous amounts of money. We celebrate every try they score and every game they win. We plaster their faces on billboards and television commercials. We make them believe that they are invincible, that the normal rules do not apply to them. And then we act surprised when they make catastrophically bad decisions in their personal lives. Here is what nobody wants to admit. The NRL, and professional sport in general, does not actually care about developing well-rounded human beings. They care about developing athletes who can perform on the field. Everything else is secondary. Sure, they have welfare programs and support systems, but let us be honest about what those programs are really designed to do. They are designed to keep players out of trouble so they can keep playing football. They are not designed to help young men navigate the complexities of relationships, fame, wealth, and personal identity during the most formative years of their lives. Reece Walsh's journey to the top has been meteoric. He burst onto the scene as a teenager with skills that took everyone's breath away. His footwork, his speed, his ability to create something out of nothing, it was all there from day one. The Broncos threw money at him to bring him back to Queensland. He became the face of their resurgence. He played State of Origin. He became one of the most marketable players in the game. All before he turned 23. But while all of that was happening, who was teaching him how to be a husband? Who was teaching him how to handle the attention that comes with being a high-profile athlete? Who was teaching him about the importance of boundaries, about saying no, about understanding that actions have consequences? The brutal truth is that nobody was, because nobody in the system actually cares about that until it becomes a problem that affects his ability to play football. And now it has become that problem. Now the Broncos have to deal with the media circus. Now the NRL has to answer questions about player behaviour. Now sponsors are probably reconsidering their associations. And most importantly, now a young woman's life has been turned upside down, and a young man's reputation has been permanently damaged. All of this could have been prevented if we actually invested in developing these young athletes as human beings, not just as commodities. But here is where it gets even more uncomfortable. We, the fans, are complicit in this. We are the ones who create the environment that enables this behaviour. We are the ones who elevate these players to god-like status. We are the ones who watch every interview, follow every social media post, and dissect every aspect of their lives. We create the fame that gives them access to opportunities and temptations that most people never experience. And then we act shocked and morally outraged when they succumb to those temptations. Think about what Reece Walsh's life actually looks like. Every time he goes out in public, people want photos with him. Women throw themselves at him. Everywhere he goes, people are telling him how amazing he is. He has money, fame, and opportunity that most people can only dream about. Now, does that excuse his behavior? Absolutely not. But does it explain why young athletes consistently make these kinds of mistakes? Absolutely yes. And let us talk about the double standard here, because there is definitely one. When a young athlete like Reece Walsh makes a mistake in his personal life, we crucify him. We call for sponsors to drop him. We question whether he should be playing representative football. We dissect every aspect of his character. But when a businessman or a politician or a celebrity from any other industry does the same thing, we barely bat an eyelid. Why? Because we hold athletes to a higher standard while simultaneously creating an environment that makes it almost impossible for them to meet that standard. Here is another uncomfortable truth. The NRL has known about these issues for decades. They know that young players struggle with the transition from normal life to professional sport. They know that fame and money create problems. They know that players make mistakes. But instead of investing heavily in genuine support systems that address these issues before they become scandals, they wait until something goes wrong and then they bring in crisis management. It is reactive instead of proactive, and it has been that way for as long as professional rugby league has existed. What should happen, but probably will not, is a complete overhaul of how we develop young athletes in this country. We need mandatory programs that teach players about relationships, financial management, mental health, and how to navigate fame. We need to pair young players with mentors who have been through it and come out the other side. We need to create an environment where players feel comfortable asking for help before they make life-altering mistakes. And most importantly, we need to stop treating 20-year-old athletes like they are fully formed adults who should know better, when the reality is that they are still figuring out who they are. But none of that helps Reece Walsh right now. His marriage is over. His reputation has taken a massive hit. His wife is dealing with public humiliation on top of private betrayal. There are no winners in this situation. And the saddest part is that we will all move on to the next scandal, the next young athlete who makes a terrible decision, and we will have the exact same conversations without actually changing anything. Now, some of you are probably thinking that I am letting Reece Walsh off too easy, that I am making excuses for inexcusable behavior. But that is not what I am doing. What I am saying is that if we genuinely want to prevent these situations from happening, if we genuinely care about the well-being of young athletes, then we need to be honest about the environment that we have created and our role in perpetuating it. Reece Walsh made his choices. He has to live with the consequences of those choices. His wife has made her choice in filing for divorce, and she deserves support and privacy as she moves forward with her life. But we, as a society, also need to make some choices. Are we going to continue creating sporting gods out of children and then acting shocked when they fail to live up to impossible standards? Or are we going to fundamentally rethink how we develop, support, and treat young athletes? I would love to sit here and tell you that this will be the scandal that finally changes things, that the NRL will implement genuine reforms, that clubs will prioritize player welfare over performance, that we, as fans, will stop contributing to the toxic celebrity culture around athletes. But I have been watching Australian sport for long enough to know that probably will not happen. In 6 months, there will be another scandal with another young player, and we will have the exact same conversations all over again. The reality is that Reece Walsh's situation is a symptom of a much larger problem. And until we are willing to address that problem honestly and comprehensively, we are going to keep seeing talented young athletes destroy their personal lives while we all watch and judge from the sidelines. So yes, Reece Walsh made a terrible mistake. Yes, his wife has every right to leave him. Yes, there are consequences for his actions. But if that is where our analysis ends, if we just condemn him and move on, then we are missing the point entirely. The point is that we have created a system that chews up young athletes and spits them out, and we are all complicit in it. And that is my unpopular opinion. Not that what Reece Walsh did was okay, because it was not, but that we need to stop acting surprised and start accepting responsibility for the role we all play in creating these situations. Until we do that, nothing is going to change. If you disagree with me, and I know many of you will, let me know in the comments below. And if you appreciate a different perspective on Australian sports stories, make sure you subscribe to Unpopular Aussie Opinions, because we are not here to give you the same takes you get everywhere else. I will see you in the next one.